My name is Victor B, and I want to discuss something. And this disclaimer: this is not a motivational video, and this is a video for people who really want to who really want to make the most out of their lives, not people who just want to enjoy life. So that's just what I want to say. If you know that you want to build something that when you get to 60, when you get to 70, when you get to 80, if you're alive or even if you're dead, you would have left a legacy, then this video is for you. So right into the video. So the things that you'll have to note on this video are two things: $1,000 and now $46.71 billion. I know these are just figures, and I know this sounds it sounds huge, but listen to the end, please. So what I really want to use is this book, a book titled Shoe Dog. Look at it, this book right here, Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. Phil Knight, if you do not know Phil Knight is the founder of Nike, the Nike shoes that we love so much. This company was founded in the year 1964. So this company is 59 years old now, Nike shoes. And the reason why I said you should note $1,000 and then $46.71 billion is because this is basically $1,000 is the first order Nike placed for their shoes, and $46.71 billion is the amount they sell shoes for right now. So right into the video. So this book that I showed you now was written by the founder of Nike. It's a fantastic book. It's a biography of how he started the company, how he grew the company, and everything. It's just a must if you're someone who has a business. And remember, these guys built a company that the revenue is 46 billion just from selling shoes. The selling shoes that we have people in the thousands and the millions selling right now in this country. But the reason why I said that this video is for people that wants to build a legacy is because I want to tell the story of how this man started and how he got to a point that we are seeing right now. So Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, graduated from school at the age of 26, and then he started his company. When he finished from school, he had this idea of importing shoes from Japan, because he said one of the reasons why he wanted to import shoes from Japan were that Japanese shoes were good, and also the prices were much cheaper than what was already in the market. And then he wanted to tour. He traveled around. He had some money. He got some money from his father, and then he went to Japan and ordered shoes. The first order of shoes that she got was $1,000 worth of shoes. And then when this order came in, he sold these shoes by himself. He was driving throughout, walking and selling these shoes door to door, going for exhibitions, going for the shoe that he did. When he started this company, Nike, the name of the company wasn't the Nike that we know it by now. The name of the shoes the name of the shoes was Tiger. And the company that he started first was called Blue Ribbon, because when he imported these shoes, the Blue Ribbon was because he was a runner, and then he had a lot of ribbons in his house. That's just a backstory. But I really recommend that you get this book and you read it, The Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. It's one of the best books I've read. It's wonderful. So Phil Knight started this business with $1,000. And then he orders $1,000 worth of. It's more like a distributor for a company in Japan. So they send him shoes, and then he markets them. He sells them to people. But he didn't have a shop. He started with selling door to door, selling to individuals and coaches and teams and etc. But the interesting thing with Phil Knight here was that when he's selling these shoes, he lived in all the money he was making. The company couldn't afford to pay him for, I think, 3 to 4 years. He was working other jobs and reinvesting every dime that he was making into the business. He was employing people to expand the business. He was expanding the business. And at a point, they had a problem with their distributor. the Tiger guys that were distributing shoes for them, and they started creating their own products. They created their own products, they drew up their own shoes, they went to China, looked for factories that would produce these shoes, and then they got these shoes into the country, and that was how the Nike shoe brand was started. So why I'm telling this story is that every kind of business that we are doing right now has the ability to become a big business, but what we have to do is just to think bigger. And don't tell me things like you're just a motivational speaker or these things are not real. One thing you have to believe in life is that whatever you think is real would be real for you. Said there is this favorite poem that I have. It's a wonderful. So if you think the poem is a wonderful poem, so whatever you think you can do it. The poem said it was written by a man called Walter D. Wintle in the year 1900. It was written long ago. The poem said, "The man who thinks he can." That's the name of the poem. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win but you think you can't, it's almost a cliche. It's almost a kinch, but you won't. If you think you lose, you are lost. For out of the world, we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you are outcasted, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be able to be sure about yourself if you ever win a prize. You've got to think high of yourself. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battle doesn't always go to the stronger or the faster man, but sooner or later the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. So you see, anything that you think that you can do it. This, like I said in the beginning of this video, this is not a motivational speak. This is not a motivational speech. This is serious talk. So if you're running a business right now, whatever you're doing, I want you for a minute to think bigger. Think for a minute that you can build a big business. Think for a minute that you can build a business with branches all over Africa, in US, in India, in China. Think for a minute that you can own a factory of that product that you are distributing. Think for a minute that you could do all these things. Because in business, there are different processes of the business. There is the factory, there is distributors, and there is the distributors are the stores and the people that sell wholesale and retail, and then there are the customers. So to have control of your process, you have to own a factory. So if you're starting being a distributor, I chide you. Look at one of the most successful men in Nigeria, Innocent Chukuma, Mr. Innocent Factory. When he started selling parts, I heard that one of the stories of it's an interesting story. I heard that one of the things that he did, that he was settled with a very major sum, and then when importers were importing by machine, they were importing motorcycles into Newi, and the way they import motorcycle was they coupled all the motorcycle without the tires, and then they just put them into the containers, and then they ship them here. But then what he did that shattered everything was that he thought about what if, instead of coupling these machines already, what if just putting the parts differently, and then when the machine comes in here, we couple them ourselves. And then when he did that, he was able to put in more number of machines into the container, thereby reducing the cost of shipping, thereby reducing the cost of the product. And when the product landed there, he sold it at the price that some of the people that we are doing the other ones just couldn't compete. And that was how he penetrated the market. And from there, the next thing that he did was he started a factory whereby that was producing plastics, because he realized that most of the parts in the machine motorcycle were mainly plastics. He started a factory that were producing the plastics for his motorcycle bikes, and sooner or later he started producing his own engines. And that was how he He moved from that lower cadre to the higher cadre, and that's how he became a billionaire. So what I'm trying to tell you and what I'm trying to tell myself is, whatever we're doing, let's not just be confided to that particular area. Let's think of it in chains. From what we're doing, how can we have control over what we are doing for ourselves? If we are selling, let's say for example, we are selling clothes. How can we have a factory that produces these clothing that we are selling? Like I told you in the poem, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So what we need to do is just to have this unflinching belief that we can really do it. And it's never easy. It's never easy. But the thing with life is that when we really have our mind really focused on doing something, the heavens and the earth conspires to help us. Everything comes together. God sends people to our way that will help us. God sends investors to our way that will help us. So if you're a young man, or if you're a young man, I'm really talking to the young people right now. Whatever we are doing, let's not think small. Let's think of a way that we can build a company that it's big enough to employ people. A company that when someone gets a job in a company that you built, the person would have to celebrate in his village because the persons have had a breakthrough. There are companies that if someone gets a job with Facebook right now, the person will have to celebrate because the company that someone built to that extent that it's huge and it's mighty. And the thing is, we can do these things. We have the same brains, we have the same hands, we have the same mind, we have the same everything. The only thing we have to understand that we have to understand how to really think, how to learn a whole lot of skills like accounting skills, sales skills, marketing skills, and also know that we have to delay our gratification and that it doesn't happen immediately. Remember what I told you about Nike? It took Nike more than 15-20 years to break through. Nike is a 59-year-old company. 59-year-old company. Most of us are not even up to 59. So you see, it's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It is a marathon. Building a lasting business that would really not a business that whereby would enjoy life when we're in our 30s and in our 40s, and when we're in our 50s it collapses. I'm not talking about people that want to enjoy life and build that kind of business. I'm talking about people that want to build a legacy, people that want to build a business that would employ people, and the people that they've employed would employ people in the same business that they build, businesses that can be bigger than us. That is who I'm talking to today. So whatever you are doing, what I really want you to take from this video is, whatever you're doing right now, think of it like a circle. Think of it like a circle. Whatever you're doing right now has where it's coming from. It has a factory that it's coming from. Think of vertical and horizontal integration. Starting from the hub, the factory, owning a factory. You can own a factory in China. It's possible. You can own a factory that produces what you want to produce. Have a factory in China, have a factory in Nigeria, have a factory in Singapore, have a factory in the US. These things are possible. But the thing is, what the mind of man cannot conceive, it cannot even believe, and it cannot achieve it. So we have to believe that these things are possible. I said in the beginning of this video that this is not a motivational talk. And I personally know that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I've set myself a goal of being, it's a 20, 30, 40 year goal. And God willing, we are healthy, we are alive. I know that it's going to be possible because God gives to those who He loves what they really want in life. We always get what we want out of life. So what I'm telling you today is to think bigger, and don't just restrict yourself to just having one shop, and don't just think of driving the latest car, having the biggest houses, because these things are wonderful. But if you could, for a while, delay your gratification to build this your stream that would produce all the things that you desire, you can have a company that is worth 500 million, 300 million, $1 billion. It is possible. We can do it right from here from Africa. There are people that have done it. But the thing is, these people are not the kind of people that we are looking at right now. So we have to really understand that it takes a while to build a business that is really great. So again, I will recommend this book, The Shoe Dog. You can get it and read it and you'll understand what I mean. So like I always say, these videos that I'm putting out is just for myself, and if you find it helpful, good. But I'm really documenting the way I think, and as I'm talking to you, I'm also talking to myself. So thank you for listening. If you watched to the end, and see you on the next video. Thank you.